Forget about the dinos. While dinos grab all the eyeballs in museums and on screens, their 167 million year stay on the Earth was just a brief episode in our planet's history. There are a number of other colossal, toothy, and flying animals from the past that are downright horrifying. Let's look at some enormous beasts, birds, and bugs that will make you glad you weren't alive at the time. Number 13. Saber Toothed Cat. This Megalodon thrived in North America until about 13,000 years ago. Therefore, it was likely in contact with early humans. Not only were saber-toothed cats hypercarnivores with 6-inch fangs, but evidence from the excavation site at La Brea Tar Pits and Museum in Los Angeles site revealed a terrifying finding that they hunted in packs. Many saber-toothed cats fossils have been discovered at the La Brea site. They would have been drawn there by prey animals stuck in the asphalt and gotten stuck themselves. This Megalodon was roughly a foot shorter than modern lions, but nearly twice as heavy. Because of their size and morphology, as well as the lack of a long tail, paleontologists believe saber-toothed cats were not fast hunters, but rather ambushed their prey from close range. Megalodon's terrible teeth are thought to have delivered a deadly ripping wound to the prey's belly or throat. Imagine 6 inches long fangs gashing at you being the last thing you see in your life. Shivers. Number 12. Arthropleura. At plus 6 feet long, these millipede-like critters were the largest arthropods to have scuttled around on the Earth. At least, the biggest one we know about so far. It's a phenomenon in the late Paleozoic period that we had these huge arthropods. Scientists aren't sure why bugs grew so large during that period, about 300 million years ago, but the primary ideas are that there was a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere. The percentage of oxygen at that was around 30% of the air, compared to around 21% currently, and there was the fact that there wasn't anything to eat them. Arthropleura was most likely not a predator because it was related to millipedes, which eat decomposing organic materials. Still, they would have made for a pretty ghastly sight. Number 11. Short-faced bears. Those massive millipedes would have struggled against the world's largest bear species, but the bears arrived a few 100 million years too late. They got their name from the shape of their skull. Because they were short-faced, these huge bears had a significantly stronger biting force than modern bears, even grizzlies. They also had lengthy legs and could sprint quickly. Some of the North American bears discovered from excavation sites must have weighed more than 2,000 pounds, but their South American counterparts would have weighed 3,500 pounds and stood 11 feet tall. Let's say that again, 11 feet and 3,500 pounds. For contrast, modern polar bears barely weigh 1,600 pounds and are about 6 to 7.8 feet in height, positively tiny in comparison. Number 10. Megalodon. Even 11-foot bears wouldn't want to go head-to-head with the world's largest sharks. These 50-foot-long monsters preyed on whales from 16 million to 2 million years ago, reportedly chewing off their fins to immobilize them. That's triple the size of today's scary enough great white sharks. Modern great whites would scavenge on a whale, but not actually take on a live whale. According to research, the bite of a megalodon was powerful enough to smash an automobile. Interestingly, most of what scientists know about this mega-predator comes from analyzing its teeth. The rest of its skeleton, like that of current sharks, was cartilage, which decomposes faster than bone and leaves few remains. Number 9. Megapiranus. Although it couldn't smash a car, the jaws of this extinct ancestor of current piranhas could produce a force of up to 50 times its own weight, making it a strong biter than even Megalodon. Megapiranus weighed 20 to 30 pounds, compared to 2 pounds for the present species, and existed between 10 and 6 million years ago in South America, when the snakes, fish, and crocodiles they dined on were likely similarly massive. Number 8. Meganura. Meh, a dragonfly. What's so scary about that? Well, if you were a lesser bug or one of the amphibians or other vertebrates milling around a pond hundreds of millions of years ago, you wouldn't want to be spotted by Meganura, the largest known flying insect, which had a wingspan of roughly 2.5 feet. They lived at the same time as Arthropleura, during the Carboniferous period. This gigantism experiment probably only lasted maybe 30 million years or so. The massive arthropods either went extinct or evolved into smaller arthropods, and no one knows why. Although the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere was decreasing, large amphibians were growing. One explanation is that you had the rise of much larger animals that could ingest these things. Size was no longer an adaptive characteristic. Number 7. Direwolf. Another large predator unearthed in the La Brea tar pits. This wolf species was about the same length as a modern gray wolf, but it weighed much more, up to 175 pounds. Direwolves had stronger jaws than gray wolves today, which meant they were good at crushing bone, among other things. Gray wolf populations have made a resurgence in recent years, thanks to reintroduction operations in locations like Yellowstone National Park. Their scarier cousins were extinct about 11,000 years ago. The western horse, which roamed in North America until around 11,000 years ago, was one of the direwolf's favorite prey. Horses were extinct in the Americas until 1493, when Christopher Columbus' men brought them back on their second journey. Number 6. Apobenia. Even if they're not huge, some species are frightening, like this 3-inch arthropod. Apobenia was a flat-bodied swimmer with 5 eyes and 30 swimming fins, and a long tube sticking out the front of its face with what looks like a Venice flytrap on the end. It most likely sank that long tube into the sandy seafloor in search of worms. It might not be the most dangerous creature out there, but we wouldn't want to be near one of these for $1 million. Number 5. American lions. These lions, along with short-faced bears, were among the largest predators to have been discovered in the La Brea tar pits. American lions were around 20% larger than present lions. They vanished roughly 13,000 years ago, around the same time as the mammoths and other large mammals they would have eaten. Researchers believe that struggling prey animals attracted American lions, short-faced bears, and saber toothed cats to the asphalt at La Brea, and that as predators were stuck, additional predators became interested and went out into the sticky marsh. It's difficult to envision all those enormous monsters flailing around miserably together, but carnivores account for almost 90% of all mammal fossils discovered there. Number 4. Titanoboa. If a swarm of drowning carnivores isn't enough to terrify you, how about a plus 40-foot serpent? This one is for those who suffer from ophidiophobia. Found during the Paleocene epoch, Titanoboa was a 42-foot long snake. It most likely hunted in the same way that crocodiles do, lurking half submerged at the water's edge, waiting for thirsty, unsuspecting prey. It would attack from the water, wrapping itself around its prey and squeezing it to death. It lived in the South American rainforests, where temperatures were warmer than today's tropics. This is a snake that would have Indiana Jones pissing his pants. Number 3. Yoseffort the Gasia monesi. What do you think about rodents? Do mice and rats give you the creeps? If that's the case, the Yoseffort the Gasia monesi could be the reason you're pleased you didn't live 3 million years ago. The South American animal weighed around 2,200 pounds, almost the same as a modern bull, and was the largest rodent ever discovered. According to a 2015 paper in the Journal of Anatomy, it had massive front teeth that researchers believe it used to root around in the earth for food, and possibly to fight off predators, similar to how elephants use their tusks. Number 2. Quetzalcoatlus. Close your eyes. Imagine a predator the size of a giraffe with a 33-foot wingspan soaring through the air. Congrats! You're looking at the Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzalcoatlus northropi lived alongside dinosaurs throughout the Cretaceous period, and may have even devoured smaller dinosaurs. They mostly hunted by walking around like a stork and collecting plants and small animals from the ground with their 6-foot beaks. Researchers believe they were graceful and powerful flyers when they soared to the air. Quetzalcoatlus had hollow bones like contemporary birds, so they could fly where giraffes couldn't. These creatures weighed roughly 550 pounds, and they could fly and glide for days at a time. According to fossil evidence, they were covered in hair, which let them regulate their body temperature during flight. Number 1. Terror birds. Even though Quetzalcoatlus could fly, they weren't classified as birds. But there existed a bird that was so lethal and terrifying that it was named after fear, the terror bird. And these birds weren't even able to fly. Terrorbirds, which could grow to be 10 feet tall, evolved in South America some 60 million years ago, when there were few other predators on the continent. Wolves and saber-toothed cats were in North America, but there was no land bridge through Central America at the time. Terrorbirds occupied the top tier of the food chain until they were extinct some 2 million years ago. This brings today's video to an end. We hope you liked it. Which one of these creatures scared you the most? Do let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to see the latest notification for our future videos. We will see you in another exciting video. Take care. Ciao.